Don't mind the plane in the background. Happy Sunday morning. This video is brought to you by Patriot Gold Group. What is all this Biden inflation tax talk really about anyway? What is the actual effect of inflation on the lives of real people? Well, President Biden claims it's indisputable that his jobs plan is working. The data actually unequivocally shows that it's not, at least not for American workers. Rather, inflation is surging, more than wiping out any wage gains and those workers may have experienced. Historically, when inflation spikes, commodities like gold, silver, lumber, as I know too well, and real estate have historically surged. Learn how simple it is to add physical gold and silver to your portfolio ahead of the rise in inflation and predicted rises in gold prices. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you could be eligible for the no fee for life IRA. Give a call to 800-356-4470 and get a free investor guide today by going to the link in the description box. Patriot Gold is a Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer 5 years in a row. I'm getting a little frustrated. Call 800-356-4470. Support the people that support us. Please, really appreciate it. I wanted to come on here and talk again about something that's going on that will certainly have this video removed, but this is why I'm never on YouTube anymore, guys, because I can't talk about anything. It's all on the other platform that starts with an R, and BitChute, and CloutHub. Okay. So I, as many of you may know, am the state executive committee woman for the Horry County GOP here in South Carolina. That means that I'm on the executive committee for my county, and my job is to go up to the state and talk with, the state party members about what my county wants. And Horry County, South Carolina has been disproportionately hit with the China virus. And I started getting calls from everybody, what do we do? What can we do? What can we do? Blah, blah, blah. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. And I realized very quickly that there were a lot of people who didn't really understand that there were other things you could do outside of just waiting at home to get so sick you need to go to the hospital and die. So the chair of our party asked me if I would bring Nurse Sarah Absher to our meeting on Monday virtually because I was in quarantine myself. And I agreed, and I said, I think that would be a great idea. So I did. I had her there, and we went through at our Republican meeting on Monday that just passed, we went through a whole big presentation where we just presented information about different early treatment options, nutraceuticals, different drugs that are available, monoclonal antibodies, etc., so on and so forth, to the party. They loved it. Everybody was so happy. We said over and over, we're obviously not doctors, and we had Nurse Sarah there who's been treating COVID patients for 18, 19 months now. So, of course, the news here comes out with this article, Dale Shoemaker, who I thought was he's been fair for the most part, even though he's a liberal. He's been fair to us. And in Horry, some push Ivermectin as a COVID-19 cure. Here's why doctors say that's dangerous. Seriously? And you go on in this whole big article about, how we've been embroiled in things. I played a video from the FLCCC Alliance about the effectiveness of Ivermectin as early treatment for COVID. Local doctors say there's a problem with the party and others in Horry County encouraging people to use ivermectin and home remedies to prevent or treat COVID-19. What are you guys offering? They're offering shit. They're saying, go home, sit on your couch until you're so sick you can't breathe. Come to the hospital where we'll give you a deadly cocktail of remdesivir, and then we'll put you on a ventilator and you'll die. That's what they're saying. Doctors saying, it doesn't work. Well, the doctors must not have read all of the information about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And they literally, here. It doesn't work? I'm sorry, these statistics beg to differ. So these doctors who are at our health establishments are saying that these things don't work, but not really saying they don't work. They're saying that they could be harmful to people, which is absolute BS. Now, I have been on a tangent about this since the pandemic started, okay? So I'm not going to go through the entire presentation today for why this stuff is absolute horse shit. No pun. The potential for overdoses there. But we haven't had any. So they go on and on about this. They talk about it. Nasal spray and mouthwash treatments. Absher and Diaz promoted other treatments for COVID-19 outside of ivermectin. Yeah, you're damn right. I talked about what I do. I talked about all of the medical studies I've read. I've talked about what Dr. Peter McCullough says about an iodine nasal wash diluted and gargling with Crest mouthwash to clear your nasopharynx. This is apparently very dangerous. Nobody should be gargling mouthwash, guys. You could overdose. You could overdose on mouthwash, guys. You could overdose on Xlear nasal spray, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just wait till you get so sick that you need to go in and die in the hospital. You could overdose on a legally prescribed prescription of ivermectin, guys. Don't take it, even if your doctor says you should. It could kill you, just like the hospital will if you end up, it's just absolutely, it's bullshit. So what happens, I could go on and on about this. I testified in front of the South Carolina Senate Committee for Medical Affairs last week. Maybe I'll play that because you know something? Maybe I'll play it. What do you say? I'm going to find it. Hold on. Bear with me a moment. Actually, let me stop that. Hold on a second. Bear with me a second. I wasn't going to play it because I was like, is it worth it? Is it worth playing myself on my own channel? Probably not. But, I want everybody to hear this. Here. There's a little bit of a fumble in the beginning because...
to your constituents who are sicko and suffering.
Okay.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. Hi, my name is Tracy Diaz. I'm the State Executive Committee woman for Horry County for the GOP, and I'm also the editor-in-chief at uncoverdc.com. And my outlet has been following COVID since early in 2020. There are early therapeutic treatments available for people with COVID-19 that will prevent them from seeing a hospital bed or death. I know a lot of people have mentioned ivermectin today. Ivermectin has had 63 trials, 623 scientists working on these trials, 26,398 patients in these trials, 31 randomized controlled trials with an 86% improvement in 14 of the prophylaxis trials, 69% improvement in 27 early treatment trials, 40% improvement in 22 late treatment trials, and a 58% improvement in 25 mortality results by using ivermectin as treatment in both late-stage COVID disease process as well as early-stage COVID disease and in prophylaxis. It's going to be hard-pressed for you guys to find a physician brave and bold enough to stand in front of you next week and testify to the efficacy of early treatment and therapeutic treatment for COVID-19, mainly for many of the reasons that you've heard already. People are terrified to speak out. They're being threatened by medical boards, licensing boards, specialty licensing boards, and big health facilities that now basically run private doctors' offices. Never before in the history of our country have we seen a federal unelected bureaucracy and medical establishment step in between the doctor-patient relationship. Never before in history has that ever happened. Doctors are prescribing medicines. Pharmacies are refusing to fill the medicines that these doctors have deemed appropriate for their patients on a case-by-case basis. The CDC does not know what one person's medical history is versus another to be able to make these decisions, nor are they reading these 63 studies that have been done on the efficacy of ivermectin and even hydroxychloroquine in early treatment for COVID-19. When you show these studies to some physicians, they refuse to even review the data. They will not look at information that has been presented, and they write it off as conspiracy theory because there is an establishment media in this country who has demonized this medicine as medicine only for veterinary animals. That is absolutely not the case. It has won the Nobel Prize in 2015 for helping to cure river blindness in people all over the world. It has been dosed over 400 billion times, and it is also has a better safety profile than Tylenol, this drug ivermectin does. Recently, it was just released in information that Uttar Pradesh in India, 70% the population size of the United States of America, 240 million people started using ivermectin and prophylaxis early in the pandemic. They have the second lowest fatality rate at 0.26 fatalities per 100,000 people, and they have been averaging only 24 cases per day since its implementation. 38 countries around the world are currently using ivermectin in prophylaxis for their citizens, including Mexico and several others. And we're having the CDC and the NIH, who, by the way, have recommended neither for nor against the use of ivermectin in early treatment or in prophylaxis, telling us that this is horse-paced and that anybody taking it or wanting to receive it are conspiracy theorists. I, too, worked very closely with Presley Stutt's family while he was in the hospital. Another huge issue that we absolutely must tackle is what is going on with the treatment of patients in the hospital once they're hospitalized for COVID-19. I know that you're hearing from a ton of family members today. I've worked with half a dozen family members who have received absolutely abhorrent treatment, including isolation, people having their phones taken away from them and put across the room so they can't contact their families, people wanting to leave the hospital because they don't feel they're getting the treatment that they need and being denied their right to leave, even against medical advice. I implore you, as members of the Senate in this committee, to please listen to your constituents who are so well informed on this issue. I've written and edited over 300 pieces for my outlet about COVID-19 and the disease process. I've interviewed experts like Dr. Peter McCullough, who I've asked to join you next week. I'm waiting on a response from him. We need to have two sides of this story. We need not to just have the side of the story where the doctors will toe the CDC, NIH, FDA line. We need the side of the story from doctors who are treating patients in person with success using early therapeutic treatment. Thank you so much for considering this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Diaz. And that was going to be my next question / comment to you, was if there's any way you can get a doctor like you mentioned to be here next week. I think that will be good for the community to hear everything from that. And I had never heard of Uttar Pradesh, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I did get a constituent email about that just this morning before the committee meeting started. So thank you for bringing that up. And thank you.
So I did secure Dr. Peter McCullough for testimony next week on Wednesday in front of this committee. And another good friend of mine here in South Carolina has worked to secure Dr. Pierre Corey to testify in front of this committee as well. Because they need to hear that. Because these are the people who are on the front lines here. So that happened. But can you imagine waking up, or yesterday, yesterday getting a message from Newsweek about this Oh, Tom Rice, how far you've fallen. That the leaders of the Horry County Republican Party believe it is appropriate to advocate for medical treatment for any illness is simply insane, especially in the middle of a plague and in opposition to the guidance of the CDC, NIH, and 95% of the physicians in the country. Folks, talk to your doctor if you want medical advice. This isn't about politics. I know too many people that have died from this disease. Every doctor I know says get vaccinated. Well, gee, Tom, you're leaving soon, so I get you might be frustrated, but this is what we wrote back. The congressman is right. This isn't about politics. It's about informing members of our party of early treatment for the COVID-19 virus so that they're informed of their options early on in case they do find themselves with COVID. Political intervention in this virus is what finds us staring at a medical establishment who can't get it right and a political establishment, Tom, who toes that line in order to not upset their master's apple cart. He's also right that it wouldn't be appropriate to advocate for medical treatment. We aren't doctors, and we didn't advocate for or against any one treatment. We merely provided information to our party members with a trained medical professional who has been treating COVID patients for 18 months. It's surprising that as Tom Rice says that members of the party shouldn't be advocating for medical treatment, he also says that people should get vaccinated. That's hypocritical. Just as hypocritical as Tom Rice's vote to impeach President Trump. The American people are waking up to the corruption at the federal level, especially when it comes to an unelected bureaucracy interfering in the doctor-patient relationship, essentially telling all Americans, vaccinated or not, that when they get COVID, they should stay home with no early intervention and wait for severe illness and ultimately death. There are proven early treatments for COVID-19. Perhaps if Tom Rice knew about these, he could help raise awareness and save American lives. Vaccination is a personal choice. The government and politicians should stay out of recommending or mandating vaccination. The American people overwhelmingly agree. Because Mr. Tom Rice had no business putting his little fingers on his keyboard and typing to us. Do you want to know why? Guess who has not spent one moment? You know what the funny thing is this? They think the establishment GOP here in South Carolina, including, apparently the head of the party and all of their people underneath, think that we don't matter. They think that Horry County, one of the biggest counties in South Carolina, and its people, all of the people here who are busting their asses every single day to make sure that that we move forward we make this country better, for goodness sakes. They think we don't matter. They're in for a huge shock. Huge. Okay? So Tom, I'm sorry that your career in politics is over. I know you're probably really upset about it. Your cash cow's coming to an end. You're not going to be able to, pull up all the bucks anymore and, be an establishment hack and everything. But people are dying because of people like you, Tom. I'm sorry. And, maybe Tom Rice on Facebook, if you're still on that crap platform, needs to hear from you. That's all. I mean, maybe he needs to hear from people across the country, including his constituents, about why what he just said is absolutely ludicrous. He says, don't have anybody, you shouldn't be advocating medical advice, and then he does the same thing in the lab. All I'm saying, I don't know. There's early treatment for COVID-19. It's been proven out in studies. It's not a lie. I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to keep screaming it. Ivermectin is not a horse dewormer. It's a medicine for humans that has massive antiviral properties. And I'll get another strike from YouTube for this, and you probably won't see me here anymore. So because of that, I'm going to tell you where you can find me. You can find me on Rumble. You can find me on CloudHub. You can find me on Locals. You can find me on Gab. You can find me on Parler. You can find me on Getter. You can find me on Telegram. You can find me on the web at uncoverdc.com. And we were banned from PayPal, myself personally, as well as Uncover DC, because of reasons. I don't even know why, but you know what? It was going to happen anyway, so it happened. You can go to GiveSendGo/UncoverDC to give. You can go to subscribestar.com/TracyBeans for me. You can go to uncoverdc.com/support to give to Uncover DC. We're a week away from our PDF of all of the articles that we've written on COVID-19. It's coming. I'm just saying, maybe Tom Rice just needs to hear from Americans who are more informed about early treatment for COVID than he is. There's monoclonal antibodies that you can get that the government's now rationing because they're so successful. Do you guys know that? It's really sad what happened to him. It really is. I'm really disappointed. Really, really sad. Someone got to him, but he's not going to stay around very much longer, so don't worry. He's going to be voted out this next election. And it's a shame that we couldn't work with him, but apparently that's absolutely not going to happen. Anybody who wants more information can check the description box of the video. Please support our sponsors. Love you guys. Have a fantastic day.